You want to know a secret? I have it on good authority that certain very academically minded religious who belong to a community with which I have some familiarity have a joke among themselves. They say, not only do I know nothing about the topic, I've never even taught a course on it. Ha ha ha. Funny joke among those wacky academics and intellectuals. Aren't you glad we're not like them? But what if that applied to a very senior member of the Catholic cadre of the people who should really know better club? What then? Stay with me. I've got a story to tell. Hi, I'm Jesuit Father Robert McTeigue, your host every day here at the Catholic Current, coming to you from the station of the Cross Catholic Media Network. Let's take a closer look. Glad you're here. When I was grading student essays, I would sometimes circle a phrase and write in the margins, what you've written here casts doubt on your understanding. It was okay for me to do that because I'm the professor. I'm the guy with the red pen. It's my job. That's what I was paid to do. What if you don't have a red pen? You've got a red hat and you find yourself in front of a microphone and you start saying things that would make people say, what you've said cast doubt on your understanding. So I've been doing a series lately, it seems to me, giving unsolicited advice to Catholic hierarchs. I started with advice for hierarchs who were giving newspaper interviews, and I recommended the Guild of Underground Favorite Fact Checkers and Writers. And then I gave some unsolicited advice to hierarchs who attempted to post on Instagram. And I recommended the Special Task Force on Preventable Internet Theatrics. And now, for hierarchs, especially senior hierarchs, who find themselves in front of a microphone and feel obliged to say something, I want to recommend that you consider religious education guidance regarding extemporaneous teaching. Now, what happened recently was a very prominent hierarch in Rome, surrounded by great monuments of Christian culture and faith and achievement, hallmarks of what's now referred to as the West, what used to be called Christendom. Well, he said recently, and I'm summarizing, basically, he said, isn't it great that Christendom is over? Oh, Christianity is still here, but that Christendom stuff, we're so glad that it's gone because, freedoms and a more apostolic church and simplicity and new beginning and gosh, the opportunities for synodaling are going to be just endless. It'll be great. And to show that I'm educated, I'm going to use the word kairotic because kairotic is a divinely instituted moment of grace. It's a way of viewing an event in time from the divine perspective. So, this senior hierarch standing in Rome, surrounded by the monuments of Christendom, built at the expense of great treasure and sacrifice and ingenuity, human nature cooperating with grace, he apparently is just so done with that. And that just kind of made me wonder, does he really understand what he's saying? Does he really mean and believe what he's saying? I also wonder if he hasn't ever heard of a scholar named Rodney Stark, who gives a very persuasive account that the best thing that ever happened to human history was Christian culture. Now, it is true. Uh, Most Christian institutions are on the wane demographically, financially. We're in a very steep decline in what used to be called Christendom. Yes, I know, but tens of thousands of peoples got together in a city and hopped up and down for a young adult event called Seek. But apart from that second or third Pentecost, uh, most of the Christian West is really on the ropes. And he's saying, well, you can't turn back the clock. We're going to go forward into this glorious future, comrades. This is going to be nearly year zero. It's going to be great. And we're going to be unencumbered by what has been, to borrow a phrase. And I'm just a little suspicious for a variety of reasons. It reminds me of a prominent diocese in the United States that has this new program called Unleash the Gospel. And it sounds great, and it's going to be exciting, and there's going to be planning, and there's going to be listening, and there's going to be missionary disciples, and there's going to be revival. Oh boy, you just wait. And I'm happy for you. Good luck with that. And if there is a leash on the gospel, it should come off. But isn't anyone curious? Isn't there anyone asking, hey, excuse me, don't want to interrupt your excitement, but how did a leash get on the gospel in the first place? Who put it there? Can we talk to him and find out why? Who is in charge of making sure there was no leash on the gospel? Because that guy dozed off because we ended up with a leash on the gospel. And the guy who said, hey, there's a leash on the gospel. When did he first notice? How long did it take him to tell somebody else? And how long did it take before someone in church says, not for nothing, I really think we need to take the leash off that gospel? And what are the plans specifically to make sure there's no more leash on the gospel? So, by analogy, I think this is something similar. So, this very prominent, eminent hierarch is saying, isn't it great? No more Christendom. Isn't it great? No more Christian influence in institutions. Oh boy, just consider the possibilities. Yeah, well, I have in the history as well. And I'm not 100% sold on the idea that Christianity minus institutional and by implication cultural influence is really a great thing to be celebrated. Is there no loss at all? No second thoughts? No wistfulness? Is there no souvenir from Christendom you want to take forward into the bright and glorious future? That's one set of questions. The other set of questions is how did we lose all that influence? What we are doing, or what did we fail to do that allowed us to lose those institutions and influence? Yes, I know, as soon as you get human beings involved, there's going to be sin. There were bad things that happen in institutions. Yes, because we're fallen and we're sinners. But I really want to know, is it better that we have the faith practiced by people who don't have access to the culture in a way that is meaningful and challenging, and a way that doesn't deny or ignore the past? I just wonder what that eminent hierarch read that led him to say, you know what, I'm going to stand among glorious monuments of Christendom, and then bid it all a fond farewell. I don't know how you get there from here, but you know what? I've already spoken a little bit longer than I planned to on this little project. So here's an invitation for you. I invite you to join me on Friday, November 28th at 5 p.m. Eastern, thestationofthecross.com, for a special episode of The Catholic Current. On Fridays, I offer an episode called Let's Talk About This, and I'm going to propose something different. Could we have Christendom without regrets? I hope to see you there. Meanwhile, think on these things today, take them to prayer, and talk about it with those you love. Go in peace, and please do pray for me, for I am a sinner. Thanks for watching today. I release new videos on Mondays and Wednesdays. Check out the archives for more videos. You can listen to my podcast at stationofthecross.com, and you can find my written work at heraldofthegospel.org. See you next time.